Hello, this is us from the future. The video was filmed over the course of the week, but last night we had an amazing thunderstorm. There were so many lightning strikes and it travelled around the mountains so fast, and when it was over us it was so loud that we just wanted to capture some of it and share it with you. So if that's something that you like, then hold on to the end of the video where we've put together some clips of the most amazing lightning strikes that we've seen since we've been here, and we hope you enjoy them too.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new video. If you're new here, my name's Darren, and with my wife Elaine, we live here in this off-grid tiny house here in central Portugal. If you've been with us a little while, you'll know that recently we've bought a fridge. That's quite a big thing for us here as we're living off-grid, because powering a fridge isn't as simple as just plugging it into the mains. So we've had quite a process that we've had to follow, quite a few things that we've had to think about in order for us to power a fridge. Obviously fridges are quite important, especially through the summer months, to try and keep our food fresh, try and keep our food from going off. So a fridge is quite an important thing, and it's quite a big thing for us to actually have one that actually now works. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about our system that we've now set up in order to power our fridge. One of the main components of that is our battery. We have power supplies, which I'll talk to you about, but our battery has enabled us to power this fridge for a longer period of time over our power boxes that we have. Which brings me on to the sponsor of this video, which is Powerqueen. So Powerqueen kindly sent us a 100 amp hour battery, lithium ion battery, in order that we're able to get this fridge up and running and working for us. So this here is our full electrical setup system. So what we have is we have a Power Oak Bluetti. We also have a small Power Oak here, and we have an EcoFlow here. They vary in power for each one, but they're all charged by solar energy. So outside we have two 100 watt solar panels, and they charge up the Bluettis and the EcoFlow. We also have a 170 watt solar panel on our roof on the front of the house, which brings in power into our charge controller just here, and then takes the power down to our Powerqueen battery down below this table here. The majority of our day-to-day power is utilised from these three boxes for charging phones, charging lights up, charging cameras, things like that. We use each one of these. This box here can quite nicely power my laptop, and I use it mainly for that because it's portable and easy to carry from room to room. This one tends to sit here, and this can power our kettle, our electric kettle, which saves time and a little bit of gas. It saves us using our gas kettle. We can plug that into here. Pretty much the same as the EcoFlow. They all have different power consumptions, but over the three of them, we're able to power all of our electrical appliances, because our electrical appliances don't take a lot of power. But when it comes to powering a fridge, although these do work, they weren't necessarily the most efficient way to power the fridge. So when Powerqueen reached out to us and said they could offer us a lithium ion battery, we thought, yeah, that would be brilliant. We could now get a fridge. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit about that. So this battery from Powerqueen is a 12.8 volt battery, 100 amp hours, 1280 watt hours. The reason why we found this battery interesting over and above an AGM battery is that it gives double the capacity. In theory, I'll explain that. So an AGM battery can only be discharged to around about 50% before it actually finishes the battery off. With a lithium ion battery, they can be discharged to around about 95%. So in theory, the same 100 amp hours will give you twice as much longevity. For a fridge, that's really important because we get our power coming in from our solar panel into our charge controller and then into our battery to be stored. That energy that's stored in the battery can give us twice as long on powering our fridge. That's the theory anyway. Another really interesting point that I thought on the lithium ion battery as compared to an AGM battery that we have used in the past in our vans, for example, is that the lithium ion battery is so lightweight. When I was setting up this system, just picking up that, well, just moving the AGM battery away to put that away for safekeeping and bringing the lithium ion battery in was, two completely different worlds. Really lightweight, really easy to set up this system. So just to recap, we have a solar panel on the roof, which is bringing the power directly into this charge controller here. This charge controller regulates that power and sends it down into this battery here. And then from this battery, the power goes to our inverter over here. And then from our inverter, that goes directly at 220 volts into our fridge. So just to get a bit of an idea of the consumption of the fridge on our Powerqueen battery, I thought I'd do a little experiment, in no way scientific by any stretch of the imagination, but just an overnight test, just to see how the battery can power the fridge overnight when there's no solar charging the battery. Because obviously during the day, the battery's getting continuously charged, but during the night, that's not the case. So I left the fridge on overnight, and then from about 11 p.m. at night, we had about 90% battery. And then about 2 a.m., that had gone down to 85% battery. And then the following morning at 8 a.m., it was down to about 15% battery. So the 6 hours between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. without any solar coming in used about 70% of the battery. So as some of you may know, we have had a few fridge issues in the past, but this system has now been up and running for a couple of weeks and it's working very efficiently and it seems to be doing exactly what we needed to do. We are turning it off on a night time just to maintain that battery power, so the next day we can just flick it back on again and the solar starts to top the battery back up straight away. We're not taking the battery any lower than about 50%, then we're switching the fridge off at about there. But the fridge stays cold overnight, which is absolutely brilliant. Then the next morning we'll come along, switch the fridge back on again, and the solar will fill up the battery. So for these summer months, working really, really well. We'll see how we go into the winter months. That might be a slightly different story. However, we won't necessarily need the fridge as much in the winter months. So thank you very much to Powerqueen for sponsoring this video. It's definitely going to make a lot of difference to our lives, being able to power this fridge on that lithium battery. So thank you very much again, Powerqueen.
As Darren was saying earlier, it's feeling really good that we're getting our power system sorted out and everything's sort of starting to come together. And I've also felt that down here on the land. So I thought I'd show you what we've been getting on with in the last few days. If you watched the Pips cast on Thursday, you'll know that our budget got a boost this week with the sale of our car and a couple of generous donations. We've been using some of that money to get on with the decking here outside the front of the garden house. We thought it was going to take us months to get this done bit by bit, but we're nearly halfway there and it's looking really good. I've got these last two to put on and we would have had another one to finish it here, but we've actually bought out Leroy Merlin of all the decent pieces in this particular size of decking, so we're waiting for them to get some more in or find exactly the same dimensions in a different shop. We haven't had a chance to go and shop around yet. But the other thing that we've also got on with is the garden beds, and we built them last year very quickly and very roughly out of just little branches and logs that we had or were clearing from the land. And earlier in the year, you may have seen us collecting some when we still had the truck, and our neighbours who were getting work done on their house had a new roof put in, and we got all of the old roofing wood, and we've been using that this week to build up our garden beds. They're not everybody's cup of tea, they're rustic, they're rough, but they're doing a fabulous job. And what that wood has meant is we've been able to raise up the level, so that's going to help us be able to build up the quality of the soil that we've got, because here on our hillside it's pretty heavy clay. So garden beds really the way to go for us. So I'm just going to finish putting these last 2 boards in, and then we'll go and have a look at the garden beds. You just pull it. It's this way, yeah, cool.
Is that going the right way? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Lovely. You got a nice space now. Yeah, it's got a nice space. The bloody flies are still getting him though. Lovely. And here are garden beds that we've managed to get organised. And over here to my left, you can see the sort of stuff that we started off when we first made the beds last year. And the ones at the far end are still made out of the thin branches and twigs. But these 3 look much more sturdy and deep, and we've got them filled up and they're all planted as well. So I'm really pleased. This one's got some cauliflower, beetroot and red cabbage in. And this one has got cauliflower, red cabbage and more cabbage. The far one, cabbages, and then I've put in some kale, and I've interplanted in some radishes as well, because they'll just come up really quickly while the bigger things take longer to grow. So all of this wood just sat all piled up in the garden for most of the summer and didn't really inspire us to get anything done in the heat of the summer, all this ugly old wood. But now that we've cracked on and got it done, I'm really pleased with it. So yeah, one man's trash, another woman's treasure. We've talked recently about getting organised and feeling like we now have a burst of energy to take us into the cooler months, or perhaps the cooler months have given us a burst of energy, and we're ready to get working. What you will see in the next few weeks is a change in focus from us. So less working here in the garden. We've got a lot of stuff already in the ground. We just have to leave it to do its stuff. So our focus is really going to shift towards our village house now, for a while.
For a while, yeah.
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 We've got jobs that are going to make our life through the winter, living in the village house, much more comfortable, and help to sort of get going with what we want to do in the village house.
Yeah.
So I hope you will stay with us and come back next time and see what we're up to.
Brilliant. So thanks very much for joining us on this one then. And again, thank you very much to Powerqueen for sponsoring this video.
Yep.
That's really cool. And yeah, we will see you on
The next one.
the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.